Today is September 11th, 2024. My name is Rob Carter of Kalamazoo Right to Life, and this is Pro-Life Week. Well, I noticed the date of September 11th. It is hard to believe that it's been 23 years since 9/11. World Trade Center, the Pentagon, Shanksville, one of the most horrible, gut-wrenching days in American history. And I'm sure we can all remember where we were on that day. I mean, I remember clearly. I was of all places, I was in Kosovo on a short-term missions trip when we heard the news, and then international flights had been shut down, so we weren't even sure if we were going to be getting home on schedule. Well, as it turns out, flights resumed later that week, and we did. And we got back right on schedule, but that was a horrible, horrible day, September 11th, 2001. Today, I want to spend the balance of the time talking about last night's presidential debate. And I don't really have any notes per se. I'm just going to kind of wing it, just some random thoughts of my own. Overall, I would say that I was pretty disappointed in how Donald Trump performed last night. I mean, there were so many opportunities he had to challenge her, and he just stumbled. He just stumbled all night long, and he allowed himself to get rattled by some of her inflammatory comments, especially toward the end, and it just did not go well. And I'm not saying that she excelled. I'm not saying was superlative. I'm not saying that, but she did seem more prepared. Actually, I did see a YouTube program this morning, and the guy who I watch occasionally, he implied that because Harris was so polished and sure of herself, and she had good reasoned responses, he's convinced that her campaign was given the questions in advance. Well, and we know that happened back in 2016 with Hillary Clinton, with Donna Brazile. But I'm not saying that happened last night. But he tends to be more of a conspiratorial kind of guy, and it fits right into that narrative that if they want to make sure she's going to do well, we give her the questions in advance. And I'm not saying that happened. But she did do better than he did, and actually she did better than I expected. Or maybe I should say Trump did worse than I expected. So maybe that's a better answer. Did not do as well. The debate moderators, it was basically who were basically paid members of the Democratic Party or of the Harris campaign. They never fact checked her at all, and they did Trump 5 times. They basically interrupted him and said, well, that's not true because blah blah blah. But they never did that to Harris. And there were plenty of opportunities. I mean, she gave some real doozies herself. There was one in particular where she makes this comment. She's made it before. The Democrats have said it for years now, that when Donald Trump said there are good people on both sides, what he's referring to is this rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. The Democrats are claiming that because there were Klan members or Proud Boy members there on one side, and then you had demonstrators like Black Lives Matter kind of people on the other side. When he says there are good people on both sides, he was basically acknowledging the fact that I'm a racist because I like the members of the Klan, I like the black people from Black Lives Matter. They're all good people. Well, that is absolutely not true. There's absolutely no reality to that. It's a lie, because what really happened was there was a rally in Charlottesville over the issue of the Confederate Robert E. Lee's statue in town, in Charlottesville. Some people wanted the statue to be taken down, removed. Some of them probably wanted it to be melted down. And then there were other people who felt the statue should remain because it was part of Southern heritage. And Trump was acknowledging there are good people on both sides. That's all he was talking about. He was talking about the Robert E. Lee statue. He wasn't talking about the Klan or Black Lives Matter. He was talking about the Robert E. Lee statue. And and she was never challenged on that last night. Never. And so her statement is a lie. And if the public doesn't know that, well, gee, they're going along with the lie because they've been misinformed. Okay. But my problem with Trump, I mean, there were so many opportunities they could have done to nail her. But my problem with Trump is that he is never specific about what he's going to do or about her policies. He could have said on day one, Joe Biden shut down the Keystone Pipeline and gas prices went up. He never said that when I left office, gas prices were $1.87, whatever. He never said when I left office, mortgage rates were 2.8%, whatever. He never said when I left office, food prices were whatever, 22% lower than what they are now. He could have said when I left office, the inflation rate was 2.5% or 3%. There were so many opportunities that he missed in giving raw data. For a guy who is a builder, contractor, you'd think he would love numbers. And he would be able to rattle off these numbers. For some reason, he can't do it. The American public is not stupid. They know numbers. They know inflation rates. They know food prices are high, ridiculously high. They know these things. So let them know this is what the Biden-Harris administration has done for you. If your income has gone up 5% or 8% in the last 3.5 years, and food prices have gone up 28% or 25%, well, just do the math. You've lost 20% of your income, its purchasing power, because your wages have not kept up with food prices. He could have talked about that. He missed so many opportunities. He just missed over and over again raw numbers. But he talks in generalities. I mean, I have accused Kamala Harris as being the word salad queen. Well, last night, Donald Trump could easily have been classified as the word salad king. He talks in circles and generalities, just going around, and he never hits the home run with data. He just needs to be more specific in conveying the information to the public that the Harris administration will be disastrous for our nation's economy, as has the Biden administration been. They just need to be more and I know I'm talking like Trump, where I've got a sentence and I go on a tangent, a little detour. But he just doesn't seem to want to do that. He talks in these big generalities, and he just does not want to get specific. The public needs it. I think they want it. The public does not know her like they know him. And he needs to be able to take advantage of what they know of him to expose her. And then there was the issue of abortion. This program was called Pro-Life Week. And abortion was a part of last night. And Trump didn't give the best answer. He said he wasn't going to pass or sign a national abortion ban, which is fine with me. I mean, they're talking 15-week ban. Well, that's just no pro-lifer worth his salt could even support something like that, because 95% of all abortions are done before the 15th week, And it would save no one. It would save absolutely not one child. So that's a non-issue. But the Democrats are convinced that if Biden gets elected, if it's a House and a Senate, that they're going to ram through an abortion ban, and it just isn't going to happen. It just isn't going to happen. He's in favor of exceptions, but then a lot of presidents, Republicans have been. So I guess I can accept that. I don't like it, but it just seems a lot of our Republican presidents have struggled on giving a coherent pro-life message, about the humanity of the unborn child, the sanctity of human life, the biological, scientific evidences for human life from conception. The DNA evidence is pretty clear, but that was never even brought up. It just wasn't brought up. The moderators, they're all coming from a pro-abortion point of view, and they're all, and as is Kamala Harris, and they're all they ask questions about on Trump, but they never ask the Democrat. They never ask Kamala Harris, is there a restriction that you would favor? They never ask what kind of a limitation you want on abortion. And then they never ask a question about transgender surgeries or hormone treatments for minors. That never came up. What a golden opportunity. The Trump campaign should have anticipated a question, and they could have moved it along and finished by talking about what the Harris-Walz ticket wants to do with minor children, regarding transgender surgeries. Right now in Minnesota, where Walz is the governor, they have a law there that he signed that if the parents object to a minor child's decision to want to transition, the state will basically step in and have the child removed and given those surgeries because the child has their consent. The child they would consent to surgery, and the parents would not be able to impose parental consent, which is a novel thought, parental consent. It was never brought up last night, never brought up. I believe the vast majority of Americans, pro-life and pro-choice, the majority of Americans, average citizens, oppose transitioning for minors. They oppose that when a biological man will go into a woman's locker room and disrobe completely naked in front of the girls or the women's swim team because he somehow claims to be a woman now. And the girls on the team are expected to just take it or leave it, kind of man up to this, and you gotta live with this. Well, what about their right of privacy? The liberals, the pro-abortion people have been talking about the right of privacy for abortion. Well, what about the girls on the swim team? What about their privacy? Well, they don't have any anymore. So, golden opportunity was missed talking about transgender. If the Trump people want to win, they have to paint her as the liberal she is. And they have to use numbers, raw data. They have to talk about transgender and the radical abortion policies where you're aborting in the 7th, 8th, and 9th month, way beyond viability. They need to be talking about these things and not talking in generalities. If that's the one thing I would tell President Trump is, get off your high horse on generalities and get to specifics. Specifics, raw data. You can do it. You can memorize numbers and tell the American public where they were 4 years ago. What did Ronald Reagan say? We were better off 4 years ago. Well, we were better off 4 years ago with Donald Trump. With that, I'll let you go, and I'll see you next time.